Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I have not recorded in so long and I'm finally recording and I got my new camera, so it's like fancy. It looks cool. I'm excited. So today I'm doing what I read in the month of October but also of the month of September because I didn't read a lot this month and I didn't read a lot in September. And not only did I not read a lot in September as well, but I also didn't make any video of what I did read in September because it was so little. I read 5 books over the 2 months, but I just haven't had time to read these past 2 months because one, I was finishing uni up for the year and I was just too busy trying to complete all my big end of year assignments, so I had no time in September. And then this month in October, I recently got a new job and I've just been so busy trying to get used to that and working a lot. So I just have not had time to read. And not only was I working a lot in October, but I also was in a slump because I read a really good book. And when I read really good books, it puts me in slumps more than when I read bad books, because once I finish that really good book, I'm just invested in that world, in those characters, in just everything to do with that book, that I don't want to move on and read another book. I don't know if it's just me who gets in slumps like that, but I barely get into slumps when I read a bad book because I'm just so happy to move on to another book. I'm just gonna get into it. I'm gonna stop with my whole life story and get into the books I read, starting off with my September reads, which was only 2. The first book I read in September was Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This book is a thriller book and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This book follows Ali and her mother Laurel. It follows both of them in different point of views in different parts throughout the book, which I found really interesting and it kept me intrigued. It starts off in Laurel's point of view, who is Ali's mother, and at this point of time her daughter Ali has been missing for 10 years. And throughout the book, whenever it's following Laurel's point of view, it is in the present and it is her trying to discover what has happened to her daughter, how she went missing and if she is alive or not. And while she is trying to figure out all of this, she meets a guy, and this guy has a daughter who looks very oddly familiar to her own daughter, which is insane. And from there, the plot just gets really intense. When it's in Ali's point of view, it is in the past and Ali's perspective in the moments where she first went missing. It was just a very interesting read because I've never really read a book like this in the way it was written and set up. Each character acted so suspicious that I had no idea who was in the wrong. I was making my guesses, and I will say this book is a little bit dark. If you don't do well with heavier topics, then I don't recommend this one, but it was really good for someone who doesn't really mind reading about that. By the end of it, I was left like very disturbed, but also very like shocked, but not in a way where I was like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. Shocked as in a way of like, what just happened? That was insane. I hope you get it, but I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It is one of the better thrillers that I read. It was a good start to my September reads. The next book I read was Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, and this was my first Alice Feeney read and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. This book is also a thriller. I was kind of in my thriller era in September, even though I only read these 2 books. This book was good, but it was very confusing. The story felt not inconsistent, but just like confusing. I just didn't understand what was going on by the end of it. I was just lost and the ending didn't really make sense to me. So like, if you understand what happened in that last chapter, please let me know, comment what happened, because I literally have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's the last chapter where this twist happens that I'm just confused by. But disregarding that twist, I did like the book. I did enjoy it. It felt a little bit slow at the start. This book follows a lady. What's her name? I don't remember her name. I read this so long ago, I don't remember the characters' names. I need to look it up. Hold on. Okay, this book follows a girl named Amber who is in a coma. This book has both present and past chapters, and in the present chapters, she is in the coma trying to figure out how she got in this coma, how she ended up in a hospital bed, and through her sense of hearing, she just takes note of the people coming in and out of her room, the conversations that they're having, to see if she can piece together how she got where she is, because she does not remember. And then in the past chapters, it is still in Amber's point of view, but it is her the weeks before she ends up in this coma. And these past chapters just serve as a way of telling us readers what has happened before she got into this coma, and it helps us to try and piece together what has happened. This book was full of plot twists. There was one twist I remember being shocked by because I was not expecting it at all, but the rest of me was kind of predictable. And there was also a side plot that I really hated, and that's why I gave it 3 stars instead of 4 stars, because I feel like I would have given it 4 stars if this side plot was just not included, because it was so unnecessary and so disturbing. I did not want to read it. I like almost put the book down when this certain scene came up because I did not want to read it. But other than that, it was really intense. The only problems I had was that side plot and the ending. There was one final twist that I didn't understand. Take with that what you will, but 3 out of 5 stars. It still was a decent book, and it still had me turning the pages because I wanted to know what was happening. Those 2 books were the books I read in September. Now I'm going to move on to the October reads, which I think are much more interesting. There is a 5-star read and a 1-star read, so let's get into it. The first book I read in October was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book was so good. I literally annotated so much in this book, and like, look at my annotations. This is like a proud moment. Look at my annotations with the cover. Is that not the prettiest thing you've ever seen? I clearly love this book. It was a 5 out of 5. It was probably one of my 6 out of 5 reads because I loved it. This book is a fantasy romance. I also think it's a bit of a dystopian because it did give Hunger Games and Shadow Me vibes, which I'm pretty sure are both dystopian. Hunger Games is definitely dystopian. Shadow Me, I'm saying it's dystopian. Some people say it's fantasy, but I don't think it is. Anyways, that's besides the point. This book follows Peyton and Kai. It is dual point of views, so you get both their perspectives, which, can I tell you, I loved. It's amazing to be able to read about the guy's perspective as well as the girls. It's just so much better. This is set in the kingdom of Ilia, and there are elites who have powers, and then there are ordinaries who do not have powers. These elites got their powers from a plague that happened, and this plague did not give everyone powers, so whoever did not have powers is considered an ordinary. But the king of Ilia banished the ordinaries from the kingdom, so the elites live separate to the ordinaries, and the elites also kill the ordinaries if they are found inside of the kingdom. And that's where the story starts. So Peyton is an ordinary who lives in the slums of Ilia, where she lives by stealing and pretending to be an elite, pretending to have powers. And then there is Kai, who is an elite, of course, and he is what they call an enforcer, whose job is to kill the ordinaries. So you can see where the enemies to lovers comes in. In this kingdom of Ilia, there are trials ran yearly. It's pretty much like the Hunger Games, and Peyton is entered into these trials because people think she is an elite. During these trials, her and Kai get to know each other more. She knows who he is, she knows that he kills people like her, but he does not know who she is. He does not know that she is an ordinary. So the plot gets really interesting, and it is one of the best reads I've read so far this year. It's enemies to lovers, it's forced proximity, and for me it's not even the romance that made me love this book, it's also just the plot was amazing on its own. Another thing I really liked about this book was the banter. Oh my god, Kai is perfect. Everything that came out of Kai's mouth I was smiling like an idiot over, and then the tension as well is amazing. There are like so many like knife to throat scenes. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this book, but you could probably see it on my face. Definitely recommend it. If you love enemies to lovers, fantasy romances with lots of tension and banter, I highly recommend. And the ending had me clutching my book, staring at the wall, contemplating what just happened. And I know that this is a trilogy and the second book comes out in June 2024, so next year in June. And I'm so excited. I just can't wait that long though. Like, that ending has ruined me, and I can't wait another like 7 months to know what happens next. Oh my god. Lauren Roberts literally is killing all the fans. The next book I read was Caught Up by Liz Tomford, and I read this book on my Kindle, so I don't have the book with me. But this book was the 3rd book of the Windy City series, which, let me tell you, I love the Windy City series so much. Liz Tomford is a genius when she writes these books. I don't know what Liz Tomford puts in her books, but she gets me attached to every single character she writes. Mile High and The Right Move, I read them so fast. Same with Caught Up. I read Caught Up so fast. I just don't know what she puts in her books that makes them so addicting and so like enjoyable, but she did it again with Caught Up. So Caught Up follows a girl named, what's her name? I'm literally the worst at names. Let me check. Miller. Her name's Miller. Caught Up follows Miller, who is a high-end chef, and she feels the pressure of her job where she has to cook these prestigious meals for critiques who are really up themselves. She does not enjoy it, but she does work there to, you know, feel like she's accomplishing something. I understand her, and that's why I love this book so much, because I related to Miller a little bit too hard. But Miller is on a summer break where her dad has asked her to babysit Kai's son. Kai plays for Miller's dad on a baseball team. So Miller's dad is Kai's coach. And Kai is a single dad who has a son. So he needs a babysitter he can trust. And who better than his coach's daughter, right? So Miller accepts this babysitting job, and from there it is just so wholesome. It is just one of the cutest stories I've read. I loved Miller. I loved Kai. It's really funny that his name is Kai because that was the name of the guy in Powerless. And it was just really weird for me to read one book straight after the other with characters of the same name. I kind of got them a little confused in my head. But I think the reason I love this book so much was because it was not only a romance. To me, it also had themes of like doing something you love. It had themes of family and trust, and I just loved, whoa. And I just loved everything about it. The way Kai treated Miller and looked out for Miller made me want to cry. Kai was just a character who was very show not tell, and just every single action he did for her was so cute. I loved it. And then Miller was just such a relatable main character. Such a good book. Liz Tomford always does it, so I wasn't surprised, and I was so looking forward to this book, and it didn't disappoint, so I'm really happy about that. I did give this book 4 stars. The reason I didn't give it 5 stars was because I did feel like it was dragged out a little bit. Towards the end, I was getting annoyed at Miller because her situation could have easily been solved if she just kind of took a step back, you know, took in what was happening in her life, realized the situation, realized her unhappiness, and just wasn't scared to change. But then again, that did make it more realistic, but I just feel like it was a little bit dragged. I also think I gave it 4 instead of 5 because I did enjoy The Right Move so much more, and I couldn't give them the same rating. The Right Move is just such a good book, go read it. But go read this one too, go read Caught Up because that is also amazing, and yeah. Okay, we are on to the last book that I read in October, and I'm not looking forward to talking about this book. I'm not even going to talk about it much because it wasn't good. It really wasn't good. I'm upset that I read it. I was literally going to DNF it after the first chapter, but I didn't. I told myself I'm going to push through it. But anyways, this book is called The Devil You Know. I read this book on my Kindle as well. I don't know who the author is. Let me check. The Devil You Know by Veronica Eden. This book was not enjoyable for me at all. It was very childish. It gave 13-year-old writing a Wattpad story in their spare time because they're bored. And I hate to say it because like the title sounded so interesting. The Devil You Know. I don't know. I just thought it would be very interesting, but it wasn't. This book follows main character Tatum, and the whole plot of this book is that she wants to lose her virginity before college. I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube. But the whole plot of this book is that she wants to do something before college, and this something is stupid. So she literally chooses a guy, her brother's best friend, to check this off the list. I can't even say more because that's literally the whole plot. And then not even 30 or 40% through that was already accomplished. The rest of the book just felt unnecessary. But to me, the whole book felt unnecessary because it's just something I don't care to read about. But I didn't know that that's what it was about because I don't read the blurb of books, which I should start doing. To be fair, I read this book so quickly and didn't really process much of it because I wanted it over and done with. But I just found this book so Wattpad. Not even though, because I've read Wattpads better than this. The way the characters acted made me so angry because why are you acting that way at your age? You're about to go to college and you're acting like a 14-year-old girl. Like, Look, I don't want to be a hater, but I didn't like this book much at all. And from the first chapter, I knew I shouldn't have kept reading because I could just pick everything that I just set up from the first chapter, that it was immature, just not written well, and it's just going to be a book with not much plot and more just a sequence of cute moments and smutty scenes. Just not for me at all. But I am the worst when it comes to DNFing a book. I cannot DNF books unless I really hate them. But yeah, this book may be liked by other people who do enjoy more of that stuff, more of the very easy reads where there's not much plot, but I didn't enjoy it. I gave it 1 star, which I haven't done since Haunting Adeline, which was a while ago. So yeah. But those are all the books that I read in the month of September and October, and I know it isn't a lot, but I hope you did enjoy, and I hope you take at least 1 book out of this video and read it and hopefully enjoy it. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good day or night whenever you are watching this. Bye!